we are in an era that seems to permit a lot of things. It looks like the barrier that covers modesty has been breached, because a lot of times you see people doing things that once upon a time seemed to be an unthinkable act, things that were termed an abomination. That is the kind of things that people seem to be doing. And a lot of times you hear people say it is the Western civilization that has made people do that. But we all know that it has brought about a form of corruption to us, because the kind of modesty that we had in time past is no longer things that we do now. We seem to permit a lot of things. The plague of promiscuity is what we are talking about today. Good morning. We're so glad you could join us for today's live today. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. You can join in the conversation. Drop in your comments on what you think, what you believe on the topic that we will be talking about today. Thank you so much for joining us. I have Solomon Sambo with me, Prudence and Joyce. Good morning.
TGIF, like, thank God it's Friday. From tomorrow, I don't have to deal with the likes of Moses, Ija, and Victor, but it's weekend, I mean. So, TGIF.
It's like you are missing somebody.
Missing who?
Yeah?
Okay.
I thought you would say you are missing Skipper.
Missing. Oh, wow. I don't know that name. But in the meantime, Mr. Hassan and Juma, wherever you are, we pray that God will bless you. We also pray that he's on a mission trip. He went on a mission trip, and we pray that at the end of the day, you win souls for Christ.
True. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So we're talking about the plague of promiscuity. A lot of times you see things happening and you'll be wondering, are we still in the same world that was started a long time ago? Things that you would hide when you are doing because you don't even want to be seen doing it are things that we go in broad daylight doing, and you'll be wondering, do we still have the same God? Do we still have the same conscience? Are we still in the same... Like, it is really baffling and disturbing. You'll be wondering what exactly is going on. And people would just tell you that, well, we're in a different era. Modernization, a different century.
Globalization.
Exactly.
You know.
And
just name it. Civilization.
Exactly,
yeah.
all the chants.
All the chants.
You know, when Jamila was asking that question, like,
Yes.
I was just imagining the days of old. I know some people out there will be shouting, how old are you? How old are you? In the days of old, I mean, sexuality was something private. There are a lot of things that you don't want it to be seen or to be heard. Like, but we now live in a time where we allow modern society as well as the world to dictate our actions, what we do, what we stand for, and all of that, even neglecting our belief and all of that. So you see people not caring about the things they do, things that should be secret. Like, I'm not even talking about scripture right now, but morality, standards in the society that were upheld. Like, we used to talk about, we don't even talk about respect. You see respect. Like, gone are the days where you see an old person carrying things, you want to just go and help because how can I be working and an old person is struggling? Gone are the days where you see young people have to stand up for older people to sit down. But today is my right. I came earlier than you, so deal with it. Like, today people just go almost half naked around and they say, it's my body. I have the right to do what I want to do. And Jamima just spoke about the plague. Like, promiscuity now is not just a concept. It has become a plague in our society today. And when you say promiscuity, you're talking about somebody, like a person having multiple sexual partners. So imagine something that is not normal, something that is not right. Now people have normalized it, like, and how that we are so polished sin that we don't even want to call it sin. You see people indulging in sexual activities, and they will even use scripture and tell you, even the Bible say, go into the world and multiply. Like, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. How that we even come up with quotes and proverbs and idioms and everything to cover up for our sinful activities is really amazing. But you see, like, psychologists will always say, promiscuity, like, you can correlate it to mental health disorder. Because how can on a normal day you just want to be having sexual affairs with different people that you are not emotionally attached to? Like, the Bible says, you leave your father and your mother, you cleave to your wife, and you become one flesh. one flesh. Oh. But today we are saying no. Even if we have a doctrine or a religious system that say one wife, one man, one wife, marry them officially, but have yours. They call them side chicks. Have them. How you can have 10. It's not even one again. It's even like have in Bauchi or have in Kaduna, in Abuja, anywhere you go, there's a side chick that is waiting for you there. And not just the men, even women too now indulge in that. As a young lady, you're sleeping with 10 different married men, and you don't see that as like you see it as normal. Like, what's there? I'm just catching fun. I'm having fun.
This issue of having sexual different partners, it happens to both the single and the married.
Yes.
In fact, the married are like in the forefront of the whole thing now. Seeing that okay, you are married, so what exactly are you still looking for out there? But they tell you, I'm trying to explore. I'm exploring my options. The one I chose that I thought was heavenly is not what I thought I would have. So I need to go out and help myself. Just like you mentioned earlier on, they are calling it different names. They are not even thinking of the repercussions that would come at the end of the day. There's nothing you would do that is bad that you say there won't be repercussions at the end of the day. You would definitely meet it, whether now, the nearest future, or later in life, or even your reputation. People don't forget these kind of things. And even someone that has had a sexual act with someone else many years ago, they will still talk about it today. This man, so many years ago, he did this, he did that. They don't want to believe if you have changed or not. The fact that you have done it has already put a dent on your reputation. People don't even think of that again. Like respect that you spoke about. No one respects any other person again. Me and an older person will be walking. The person is carrying load up and down. I don't think I should carry for her. Is your load, you bought it, so go and deal with it. I came into the car before you, so do whatever you want to do. So nobody takes respect and reputation seriously like before again. And it is something that we really need to put back. There are a lot of things of old that were done that people see it as old school. It's not. They are things that have built people. They have shaped people's lives. And it's high time we bring back some of these things back to be able to pick back on our track and move.
Sure.
I don't know. I wouldn't really just go with the whole, okay, so a lot of times when we're talking about things like this, we just think of the glory days. And when we think of the glory days, we automatically forget that these things were there, but it's just that people did it on a sheesh note. It was shush. It was like, okay, let's just do this so that people will not know that we're doing this. So you're later on finding out, oh no, they just found out that this other child belongs to this man and not the person that the person had already been looking up to as his mother or father. So things like this, I get your point,
Like
but I'm heading towards some.
But now they are coming in.
I'm actually heading
daylight.
towards something. So people got tired of hiding. It's like when you read in the Bible, why did Sodom and Gomorrah have to go through what they went through? It doesn't mean that the other communities were not doing the same thing. It's just that Sodom and Gomorrah had no shame anymore. They dropped their shame aside. Shame was washed off. Let's do this thing in the broad daylight. They're doing it and they did not care. And that's the point that we've gotten to. Promiscuity is the order of the day. If people would tell you things like, if you have one sexual partner, sister, what are you waiting for? It's not like men are not available. They are available. So why are you sticking to one person? Who does being faithful help?
They tell you variety is the spice of
Variety is the spice of life.
like how can I be eating okra soup every day?
Exactly.
I mean,
And the worst of it is if you are a single person and you say you don't even engage in sexual relationship.
like,
That's
are you
all.
normal?
They'll begin to think that you are psychologically not all right. It's like, do you need a psychiatrist or a psychologist? Do you want to visit one? Because it's no longer a normal thing for someone to keep themselves. So over time, we've shed the skin of shame and respect. Because if you respect people and you respect your body, you will not go ahead and just do things anyhow. So we've shed the skin of It's like we have turned to snakes and we're shedding skins. So now we've shed the skin of respect and we've shed the skin of shame. You don't have both. And so you go ahead and just do the things that you want to do because, well, nobody really cares anymore. Little wonder you see things. And this really bothered me a lot while I was in school. A friend of mine was always, no, not a friend of mine, a classmate of mine was always posting certain things on her statues. And sometimes I look at it and I'm bothered. I'm like, isn't she afraid? Are you not ashamed? Are you not afraid of posting this kind of things? What kind of light do you expect people to look at you in? And it was pornography on her statues, glaringly. You would not say her WhatsApp was hacked or her Facebook, whatever. You would not say it was hacked because she's constantly doing this. And when you ask her, is your phone alright? She tells you, yeah, everything is fine. In fact, you open her phone, that's the first thing you see. And you begin to wonder, do people really no longer have shame? So that's the point. In days of old, our parents cared about what the other person is saying, what the community pictures you as, the image that you're projecting to people. They cared about those things. We don't care. In fact, this is my life. I live it the way I want to. This is about me. It's not about you. It's about me. So I don't care what you're going to say. Some people go to the extreme to even tell even their parents, I don't really care. You're talking about your time. This is my time now. It's not your generation anymore.
You can't shame the shameless. Like, have you heard that?
Yeah.
Like, it
I've
has
heard
reached
that.
that point that you can't shame the
Can't shame the
shameless.
shameless.
People have accepted that they are shameless. So no matter what you say to them, it doesn't move them. So it's just a norm. People can go on the street and just pick up anybody and go and sleep with the person. At that point, who emotion help? That's what they tell you. Like, you don't have to be in any relationship with somebody to just sleep with the person. People meet at parties, people meet at occasions, and they just go and sleep with each other. In fact, there was a point I boarded a public transport, and while I was in, this lady stopped the taxi and she entered. On reaching a particular point, another young man entered. As we were behind, seated, I don't know how the conversation began with both of them. But when he got to where he was dropping, she dropped as well with him and they left. That was not where she said she was going. But when he stopped the taxi, he said, I'm going to so location. But when he got to where she dropped as well with him and followed him. So, like, we are in a time where people don't care. Like Prudence was raising the concern earlier on. It's not like before we don't have these things existing. But people they know that it's not right. And even when they indulge in it, like, there's some form of secrecy, like they hide it. But today, people would do it in the open. They say just satisfy that sexual need and just go your way. But disregarding the implication and the effect of that action, which if we start discussing, I don't think we can exhaust on this show, but let's hear Samuel Solomon.
When you see people saying things like, it's my life, I will live it the way I want, you will know that you can't shame the shameless.
Shame has traveled.
Yes, he's trying to tell you, whatever you are thinking, you will tell me, you are just wasting your time. And when you hear people trying to say that, they are trying to just shut you up because they know the next thing is either you bring one story in the Bible or you quote one verse. So they are just trying to just shut you up there, and they will tell you my life. So it has come to a point whereby, we neglect that portion of responsibility. We don't longer take responsibility for ourselves, not even talk of others. Like, you are supposed to, because number one, you are being created for a purpose, and you are expected to fulfill that purpose. And for you to fulfill that purpose, there is this process that you need to go through. And in going through that process, it starts with you. That means everything about you must be balanced. It starts with you. So the moment something goes wrong from you, it affects your neighbor. It affects your friend. It affects your colleague. And it becomes society. And that's where you will see the chunk number of irresponsible people moving together. Because the moment you begin to feel those, like you rightly said earlier, we are not talking about Bible, but we are talking about morality. When you begin to see people begin to frown at things that, begin to frown at morality, then you know there's a big problem. And that is where already we are there. You see, all of these things that we mentioned, talk of stealing, sexual immorality, name them, all the sin that you can name. They are there. And that's the reason why Jesus came. He came to tell us that is not the original plan. That is why Noah was given the responsibility to build the ark, so that he will save those that are willing. But they chose to follow that path. And that is what happened. And thinking that we will find this relief by saving Noah and that generation, the whole thing became something else again, plus our present generation. And if you look at it, that what we're saying, global village, I think this global village of a thing is doing us more damage than good, if you permit me. Now, before then, at 16, there are like a lot of things that you are not even exposed to. You don't even know them. But now, at the age of 5, 6, 7, already some children have access to so many things. Why? Because they have smartphones. Is either they have, or they watch certain things, or they read certain things from their friend's phone, or name it, or neighbor. Before, we have control when it comes to issue of media. Today, there is no control. I'm surprised that even government as in government media, you will hear them playing some songs that are vulgar. And you wonder, where are those NBC quotes? Where are those things? Like, you begin, that from there I know that we have missed it. Then there are certain things that you can't play. Now they will tell you can play anything. All you need to do, put a child, whatever they call it. Parental, whatever. That's the highest they will tell you. Because it's there, it's free. Look at the issue of Big Brother, whatever. The Big Brother Nigeria. What is happening there? And you will see an entire family sitting down to watch that. And you ask yourself, like, where are we heading to?
And it's like we just, in this generation, we just decided that promiscuity is the order of the day, so let's just take it a notch higher and make it even more vulgar. And what I mean by more vulgar is this. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking that that's probably what just
for
happened.
that thought. But the devil is deliberate. You see, Sambo Solomon mentioned how that a lot of content are geared toward making you think that these things are normal. You didn't sit down to say, okay, you see, he made reference to the times where phones were not existing. People did not, it was what you were taught in the family and in the community, in the church, that is right, that you take as right. But now exposure, with the advent of technology and exposure to some of these content that the devil has used to reshape our thinking. That what the society or what you were taught at home is not what is obtainable. Now you have grown. You have the right to raise yourself, to reshape your thinking and your ideology. And that is why you see when the Bible says the devil roams like a lion looking for who to devour, it means day and night. He's recruiting people. How does he do that? Why is it that promiscuity just became the order of the day. Having multiple partners, like there's nothing wrong in having multiple partners, because we've seen music videos that promote that. While he's dancing with this girl, the next scene he's dancing with another girl. You see, they're already putting it in your mind that there's nothing wrong with that. You watch movies of how that people have 2 wives, 3 wives, 5. You see single ladies like having different sexual partners, and you that is watching, you're thinking, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. They tell you have the right to your life, the right to whatever you want to do. And then all of these contents that they keep coming up with, that the devil keep using these people to come up with, is geared towards changing your mindset and your mentality towards what was the norms, like what was morally wrong and what is morally right. And that is why the society today can just make reference to, like, if this person is doing this, then who am I? Justifiable reasons now they will start. But we've always maintained, there's no excuse for failure. And you see, the Bible says the wages of sin is death. Sin is sin, no matter how you polish it. He say a man shall leave his father and his mother and cleave to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Sometimes we think some of these laws are like gagging us, like it's not allowing us to have our freedom. We're supposed to enjoy our life. This Christianity of 18, like I'll just leave the church and all of that. Somebody made a post of how that you are angry with your pastor or somebody in your church and you decide to leave the church. How many people made you angry in your office? Why didn't you leave the work? You understand? You leave your church, and when they're asking you are saying your pastor said something that got you angry, that's why you left. Haven't your boss said things that got you irritated, that got you angry, but you stayed? Because of what? You understand? So we have a lot of excuse, but no matter how you polish sin, sin is sin. And on the last day, you will give account. But we hope you don't get consumed in the process, because these things are just you don't just enjoy it and that's all. There's STI. You're sleeping with different people. I mean, there's sexual transmitted infection, diseases. And then there's also emotional implication to all of these things. You're sleeping with somebody that you don't even have. There's no union, like, between you people. You're not married. There's no emotional attachment. There's the feeling of guilt. There's low self-esteem. There's loneliness. After attaching your spirit together, you have tied the spirit. Now you're alone. The person have gone to meet another person. There are a lot of implications to it, even to societally. When they know that you are sleeping with different person, there's the way they look at you. Are not regarded in the society. And you see the involvement in promiscuity. Like I said earlier on, for psychologists, it's a mental disorder. And that's why somebody can just go and sleep with a minor. Because for him, let me just have multiple sexual partners and just satisfy that desire. You just find yourself sleeping with minors. And at the end of the day, there are legal actions too.
And you know, they have made the thing so easy. You can walk into any shop and find movies that are erotic. Even in cartoons now, children cartoons, you find some certain scenes that are not even worthy for a minor to watch that kind of a thing. And you know, they are putting things into the minds of these young ones, and by the time they become teenagers, they feel like it's a normal thing. Plus they have a phone. I can easily access anything at all. The highest they might ask me is 18 plus, and if I'm not 18, I will easily tell you I'm 18. There's no way for you to find out if I'm truly 18. It's not like I submit birth certificate or anything. So you can access virtually anything.
I mean, how many parents will say it's 18 plus go inside? When you see a particular scene, people are having sex and the children are watching with their parents. How many parents know that 18 plus?
You access practically anything, and the person selling doesn't care if you are a child or an adult. He's after his money. So whoever is coming to buy, let him just buy. Nobody is thinking of the death rate. That's why we're having a lot of unwanted pregnancies left, right, and center. And nobody sees it as a new thing. Someone can have 3 children, and these 3 children have 3 different fathers. And nobody sees it as anything. We're not thinking of how to do away with unwanted pregnancy and the pregnancies that lead to abortion, the abortions that lead to death, and all of that. Nobody is seeing it as any new thing again. Everybody just wants to explore. And what practically happens is, I might be indulged in promiscuity, and then I die. Then Joyce might think, oh, well, I died because I was not careful enough. So she would do the same thing, but she would tread with caution. You know, And then she might do it and not even make it. And Prudence will say, both of us were not wise. She knows her ways. So that is the same thing that is happening to people. You are seeing people dying because of this thing, going into depression, anxiety disorder, and many other illnesses. You are seeing it day and night, but you still go into it. It's like walking into a hole knowing there is a deep well inside, but you're saying, when I get there, I know what to do. Just trust me. So it is high time that we learn from others that have failed, even if they have not failed, seeing that they got it wrong and they are doing the wrong things. It's high time for us to have a turnaround and do things differently than they were done before.
You see, earlier I was saying that it's like we have decided, and I am deliberate about using that. It's at the end of the day, every single thing you do is a choice that you make. It's a choice that you yourself you make. So if our parents have been preaching to us since we were children, our pastors were doing the same thing. From the church, you kept on hearing the same thing. And we understand that the society is not lenient. It bombards you and it wants you back, forth, right, center, however it is. They don't care. At school, they're teaching you sex education, and they're teaching you that condom is the best way to protect yourself and things like that. And already they're giving you the room and the forum to think that, oh, this is the best thing to do with your life. At least you're human. There's nothing you can do about this. So over time, these things, you're getting two contradicting messages. At the end of the day, it is up to you to weigh which one to go for. But more times than not, we all go for promiscuity because that's the easier choice. That's what is in vogue. And if I don't do it, people would think that I'm a stupid person. I read one time, not so much about promiscuity, but rather about someone staying clean until marriage. And someone said that how can she, and mind you, this person is an actress in the movie industry. And so, these are people that are public figures, that people listen to what they are saying because some people basically hang on their every word. And she goes ahead to say things like, if anybody is preaching to you to be chaste, that means that person is prude. That person is just against you. So this is someone already coming out to teach you things like this. So at the end of the day, it is up to you whether you want to listen to what she's saying or not. I know that it's not something that is easy for you to do away with, because everywhere around you, that's what you get. For instance, I keep going back and forth with the story of Sodom and Gomorrah because it's very relevant. They had sexual relations with anybody that was available, be you a woman or a man. They did not care. That's where we are right now. Plus animals. They did not care, and that's where we are right now. There was a trend at some point where people were having sexual relations with dogs. It was a trend. I read one time someone saying that she's not satisfied with a man if she would not be satisfied with a man. Rather, she would prefer her dogs. These are people coming out to say how shameless they have become. And this all boils down to, this is what our society is giving us. But in that kind of community, you still found people like Lot. So how is it? I know that it's not something that was easy. It's not easy, because even Lot at that point, he said something very crazy. He's like, oh no, let me give you my daughters, that you sleep with them and not the guest. So that means even him, he would have allowed for something like this. So it's hard. It is really hard for you to stand out in this kind of generation. But it is not that it is impossible. Promiscuity is the order of the day, but that doesn't mean that it is impossible. He said you can do anything through Christ who gives us strength. And it is the same Bible that says that if you join yourself with the prostitute, you've become one with her. So if you're going from one person to another, some people go to the extra mile of having that relationship with 3 or 4 different people at the same time in the same room on the same bed. 5, 10, multiple at a time. So it's really bad. It's like sometimes when you're talking about promiscuity, you look at the society and you're like, exactly where are we heading to? Maybe later on now, people will just begin to, I don't know, on the streets. They're already doing that on the streets.
Yeah. You talk about the issue of the street. I watched one clip. There's this guy that goes around with money, and he meets, like, in a public place, and then he will meet a guy and a lady just randomly, and he will just say, if I give you $10, can you do this? They'll be like, no. Okay, what if I double it? That's how he goes, until he goes to one amount that you'll be like, is this thing real? And they will be like, okay. What's the harm?
It's not just
Is
how
it
many
not just-
seconds, how many minutes. I will
Yeah,
just-
and
I'll
then
get the money.
and then
actually
and
saw
then
that.
you saw that, right?
Yes.
And then once you agree, then the camera is on. That's how he generates his content, because he has paid already. Then that's the level. That's the level of how the devil is trying to work with our mind. And then when you see people struggling and things are becoming so difficult, and the devil is using the strategy of money to work on some people's mind, just to do the crazy thing that you cannot imagine. Like, you'll be like, are these people from this planet? Like, are they humans? Where are they from? Do they have parents? What kind of training? And then you just see people just throwing their morals straight up because of certain amount, and then be doing crazy things in the open there, not knowing each other, and then you will just be seeing crazy things happening.
Have
You
you
see
heard
the-
of that game that they came up with, Truth? And part of
Yes,
the reason,
yes.
like, strangers can just meet and they will call you and say truth or dare, and you say dare. I dare you to sleep with this person, and you just go ahead and sleep with the person, like in the presence of people.
Yes,
You're not
yes.
for just momentary pleasure. You want to have a lifelong or a lifetime suffering, living with guilt, like living with a lot of it, just because of just 5 minutes or 10 minutes or how many minutes pleasure. You just give it up like that. Truth or dare. You're even talking about the one that you're giving money. There are
This
some
one,
that
yeah,
nothing.
there's nothing.
Oh, you don't reward. Look at how they make it like there's nothing wrong with it. Prudence was saying how that on the streets, like maybe in future on the streets, not in the future, it's happening already. I served in a particular institution. See, there is just within the school premises, one of the lecture hall, our office was just attached to that lecture hall. Do you know that you come there on Monday and you're seeing packs of condom there? Like, you come to the classes area,
Yeah.
and then you find people just meet each other and just decide to sleep. You'll be at home, they'll tell you there's boyfriend in school, there's boyfriend at home. You go home, you sleep around, you go when you are going to the village for holiday, you go and sleep with different people, come back and they are pregnant. Who is responsible? You point here, you point there, you point. You don't even know who is the person that is responsible. And spiritually, we kept talking about the moral angle, societal expectation and all. But spiritually, sometimes we think God is trying to punish us by telling us, no, let's stick to one partner. No, when you it's like God does not like us, but he's saving us a lot of trouble. He's saving us from a lot of problem. Like, look at the people that decide to indulge in it in our own setting. Look at the things they go through. Now you are receiving a call from here that your child from another person that is in another state is not feeling too fine. You have to deal with school fees here and there. You are like, because you decide to be promiscuous. There are people that cannot walk straight forward because they have contracted one STI or the other. There are some ladies or even some men that are struggling. Like, they have been treating this STI for years. You just met a random person and you slept with the person. You don't know how many of your type the person has slept with. Like, how can you just meet a stranger for the fact that the person is agreeing to even sleep with you? Calls for concern. And no wonder psychology is a mental health disorder. For me to just meet somebody and decide to just give in myself like that to that person. Like, we don't think about the spiritual angle to it. Once you sleep with somebody, you have sexual intercourse, you are tying your spirit together. So think about it, that you are tying your spirit with this person, and the person has tied his spirit with another person, and another person has tied with Ahab on his own. Do you understand? Ahab, look at the story of Ahab and Jezebel. He's wicked, though. He now went and slept with Jezebel. Then think about it. So that's what we are doing to our spirit. Somebody has went and slept with armed robber, came and you open your leg to the person. You have that tendency. Give birth to a child and your child is misbehaving. You are saying you are very stubborn, but you don't know that there's a spirit that you have, and then transferred it. Sometimes we struggle with a lot of things personally. Distraction, you are walking, you are not remembering where you are going to. You take left instead of going right. There's a spirit that, so it's like we don't care about all of this implication, but we are just giving it for momentary pleasure. God loves us and he cares about us, and that's why he say, no, let's not indulge in this. Even if you have to do it, you get married. When you get married, do it with your partner. Stick to that person, because you are tying your soul. Some people are married but they can't leave their exes. Why? Because of how they have tied themselves. A story was told of a young man that was preparing for marriage, but he was chatting his ex and he was telling her how that is you that I preferred. Oh, this my wife, she cannot even do anything and all of that. He has tied himself there. And unless God help you, you keep struggling with all of these people that you have tied your soul to. So why won't you just instead stick to that one partner? You see yourself emotionally, you can't concentrate. You have
a lot of things in your head. And you know, one interesting thing is that when we always complain that marriages are being lead to divorce anyhow, it's simple. You have multiple sex partners, so the moment you are getting married to this person, your sexual life, you're weighing it and basing it on your other sexual experiences. Okay, so this person, he was better at this than no. My husband cannot do all these things.
The problem with him is just that he's not caring.
Yes, so you're doing all this analysis.
The man is a 40-second man. How did you know that there are people that pass 40 seconds? Do you understand?
Yes.
Or the young lady that is saying, me, this sex part of marriage is the ultimate for me. If I marry a man and he cannot satisfy me sexually, me, I will go out. I can't stay. How did you know that one that you married is not going to, like, you have already tested? You see that soul tie, you have tested a lot of people, and that's why you're making the comparison already, and that's why you can just get married and say my husband is not satisfying. Compared to who? Do you understand? Compared to who? That's one of the effects of being promiscuous.
Yes. Compared to who?
You hear that good sex. How did you know good and bad sex? Do you understand? You hear that, oh, what a woman will give her good sex, or when she has good sex, and how did you know that there's good and there's bad? We have indulged in different kinds of, we have engaged with different people, and that is why you get married and you still feel unsatisfied. You want to still go out, you want to still go and reconnect. At the end of the day, you are being blackmailed. If you don't do this to me, I'll go and report. Look at that story of that woman that caught her friend's husband sleeping with his sister-in-law, and she came back and said, give me my own too.
Instead of you to tell his wife, so that she would be cautious.
Yes. So let them form a
so
cycle.
you see one of the implications of being promiscuous. He left his wife, was sleeping with his sister-in-law, and now the friend is saying, so whether he's in the mood or he's not in the mood, he has to be going around the circle, because everybody is threatening you. If you don't give me, I will expose you. So how long would you continue like that?
And
there are some men that have lost their
partner.
properties and their wealth because they got engaged with certain people, and they say, if you don't do this to me, I will post the picture, I will post our chat, and all of that. You went saying hi and sharing your pictures. You didn't know that it was going to result to that.
And this promiscuity, we've taken it in, no, not like in what higher. These are things that were already happening, but it's like a new norm now. That you hear a video I watched recently was about a dad who was having sexual relations with his daughter, and he took it to the extra mile to say that he's going to marry the daughter, and the daughter is complaining, is like, I'm your child, you can't do this with me. And he keeps on shouting and saying she looks like her mother, and so he loves her and all that. But the problem, I did not get the full story because I was angry already. I was angry at the video. The point I'm trying to make is that we've gotten morality, spirituality, all these things, we've thrown them down the drain. Promiscuity goes beyond just you having multiple sexual partners, but even back into the homes. You find sisters and brothers, father and daughter, mother and son, mother and her son-in-law.
Yeah.
That breaks my heart. This is your daughter's husband. Can you not?
And you know, the Bible stated it clearly.
Calm down. Be
The
calm.
Bible stated it clearly that every other sin you commit is outside of your body. But the sin of immorality, you're doing it against your own
your body.
body. So you're doing two things at the same time.
Yeah.
First of all, you're sinning.
Against
and then
God.
Yes, against God.
And against
and
yourself.
then
And
against
you're disrespecting your body.
exactly.
Your body will go back and sit down like this. Your body will be, self-esteem will no longer be there.
Exactly.
Your body will be feeling guilty. Like only you see how that because you indulge in multiple sex or sleeping with somebody that you're not supposed to, you are angry seeing the person working with his wife.
And
When
there's
you can do you understand? You are not angry that the person is not calling you. You think that the person will stick with you in the first place. Before you, there was.
Exactly.
Do you understand? Now you are having expectation. You are now feeling bad because the person is not calling you, is not giving you attention. You see one of
You know what I mentioned?
You see, Joyce, that's another part of it.
Yeah.
For people that have a little conscience, if you permit me to say that. But now what they are even saying, they don't want any attachment. Yes, they don't want any attachment.
But you know
that
the problem
that tomorrow she will just look at the person or he look at her and then he feel, and that's the reason why you see the issue of hookup now is taking the order of the day, because I don't know you from anywhere, there's no emotion attached, there's no any relationship or something, and then
if I will see you again.
I was
yes,
going to say
and-
this.
and-
As much as people keep saying that no strings attached, there's nothing else. Even those that go the hookup, there's always an impression that is left. So you cannot ever say that there's no string attached.
It's not
Ended
left
here.
for you to decide if
It's
there will
not
be
left-
strings
this is-
attached or not.
Exactly.
It's
This
not
is
your
not something
place.
that you decide. In fact, for certain people that have had sexual relationship with one person more than once or twice, you get to a point that there's an attachment that is strong on you. For instance, a lady who breaks up with from a relationship, probably a bad one, and keeps on crying, more times than not, if you check it, it is not about the relationship she's living. It's about the attachment she has made with this person from sexual
Exactly.
relations. So it's that
Sexual
sexual attachment that is there that she's crying about more times than not. And I'm particular about.
people cry, we should ask questions.
Yes, there are questions. There are really deep questions to ask.
What are you
physical attachment or sexual attachment?
Is it the shawarma or something happened in the other room?
So
The two
I'm
things,
particular.
two things.
I'm
That-
actually
that
particular
sexual
about
attachment, and then probably maybe her resources.
that.
You know when-
That's
On
true.
dinner.
Yes. No,
That's
she
very
funding
true.
the
She's funding
relationship
the relationship.
and then giving the sexual whatever. So it's just
To keep
she's
the
giving two,
relationship.
and the guy is not giving anything.
You see, I'm particular.
Why would she cry?
He's giving his body.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right. I'm not going to touch that.
That's what he's bringing to the table.
I'm actually
it's
deliberate
enough.
about talking about my gender.
Hmm.
We have over time done ourselves more harm than good. One thing about having multiple sexual partners, and I'm going to touch the other gender as well, but let me focus on my people first. One thing about it is that earlier on, I think it was Jemima that touched on it. We do the same things that we have seen someone falling off for. For instance, in my community, I've seen girls, young girls, 18, in fact, 18 is too much, 16, 17, 16, 17, 15, 16, 17, with children, with babies. And it burdens me that these children have gone out to do things like this and they don't even, there's no shame. They've given birth to these children and they are back to their life. Let's continue.
Giving birth to children.
Yes. And they are back to their life and they continue living this life. And it's a circle because this child grows up and sees that this is what my mother is doing and I go ahead and do it. And we keep doing this thing and we keep doing these things and then we come back and we're complaining that our society is bad. But then again, we are the ones that are spoiling our society by our own hands. So I'm particular about my gender because it's really heartbreaking. It's either you are dying because of an abortion or you are raising up children that have no clue who their father is.
I want to talk to the other gender. Thank God you addressed this.
Yeah, before you say that, there's something you always say in Hausa, based on what Prudence said. When someone's beard is catching fire, you put water on yours. But it's like we take the beard close to the one catching fire so that ours.
Everybody wants to.
You know what? You know what they say now.
Idan
kaga gemun ɗan kana kama da wuta ka faɗa rijiya.
So now it's not to put water.
Don't put your fall in the well.
Just fall inside well. Just
because
run.
water will not be enough.
Because the level of how some negativities now are following people, like they are trying to tell you what the Bible say, flee away. Flee. Like
it's
not
falling in
enough
the
to
well
just
is better
yes,
because it might catch your hand or your leg. So just fall into
you know
the
what's
well.
interesting is that when the Bible was giving commands and giving instructions, when it got to sexual immorality, it did not say do not. He said flee.
Because if you don't flee, you are saying, and people always say,
If you
me,
jog,
I
it
know
will catch up
myself.
with
You hear people say, I know
know
myself. I can keep friends like that and nothing will
Ah.
happen. Look at what Joseph did. Cut out.
He pulled
I mean,
out
cut
the
out.
shirt and
And that is why I want to talk about the other gender. I mean, men or guys or young men, whichever category you belong to.
boys.
But that category of Adam. See, a lot of men think they are smart by being promiscuous. Like you even find some men having circles of friends and sleeping from one to the other. You think you're being smart. I've seen people that lost their strength, their wealth, and their ideas just because they decided to be promiscuous. A young man growing up with a lot of dreams, everything just died. Why? Because he decided to be promiscuous. At this point, you're no longer thinking about ideas or how to recreate or how to increase your wealth. But at every moment you are sitting, you're thinking of, I need to call this girl, I need to call that girl. So you see, time is going on you. And because you're not thinking of idea of increasing your wealth, but rather you're thinking of how to sleep around, sooner or later you'll be nobody. See, we used to see men, I mean great men, and that today you look at them and you want to ask yourself, what happened to this man? What happened to that one? But obviously from the kind of lifestyle they chose, like being promiscuous, you just see that they are no longer relevant again in the society because you're not thinking of, you're not recreating. Ideas can no longer come because promiscuity have replaced that. So some men think it's being smart. When I have money, what do I do if not to enjoy life, to just have plenty girls? Prudence said how that now how people are so shameless. You carry 3 girls, you say I don't want 1 or 2. Book for 3, 4 or 5 girls for me, and you're going to the same room with them, and you just say just take care of me because you have money. Like that's the idea. So sooner or later you see you're losing out from your wealth, from your ideas, from your strength and everything. You might be thinking you're chopping life, you're being smart, but guy, look at the story of Samson. He was great, he was powerful, but just one night, just a moment, he lost his strength, he became blind, he ended up in jail. And you can't run away from these things. There are processes to all of this. You can't just say, oh, I will live my life, I'll enjoy it and like eat your cake and still have it. It's not possible. So you can tell your tomorrow from the things you're doing today. So that's why a lot of times you see men are being advised, be careful. The Bible says flee. Where fleeing is not because of the person that is advising you, but because of yourself. And that's why earlier on I say it's not that God hates us, that he say we should flee or not to indulge in that, but the implication outweighs that 5 minutes or 2 minutes or how many minutes enjoyment that you, in quotes, that you target. Look at how people are suffering because of certain decisions that they take. Why not choose the path of holiness? Why not say that me today I will flee? There are guys that some girls will come around there when they start doing some kind, they say, now I can't. No, I can't stay around this. This girl will land me in trouble. Some big men, I mean some bosses too, have landed themselves in trouble because they decided a minute gratification landed them in a cage that they cannot come out. This girl is all over you and you must satisfy her. If not, she wants to expose you. So why would you want to keep yourself in that kind of cage when you can have freedom? I always tell people that there is no freedom outside of Christ. If you want to have and enjoy life, like, just have Christ. If you have Christ, you are free.
Exactly.
But if you choose the other part, the devil does not give anything for free. He will give you, but what he will take from you.
I was going to add that I know she mentioned STIs, but medicals have said that if you have multiple sex partners, you are prone to cancer. You are prone to cancer. This is not hearsay. This is something I've heard from a number of medical professionals that I interacted with. So be you a woman or a man. In fact, for the men, it's worse because they say because your sperm is being procreated over and over again, and if you continue to indulge like this, it could cause you prostate cancer. So as much as people would think that, oh no, nobody has identified exactly what is the cause of cancer, these are certain things that we can do to prevent ourselves from physical trauma. We talked about mental trauma, we talked about spiritual imbalance and all that, but this is for physical trauma, so that you don't, your body, pamper it, please. I'm begging you to please pamper your body for yourself.
And you see, let me add a little from what she said, from my agenda. Some, they have a clique. The clique is to prove how smart they are and how wealthy they can.
They can even bet on you.
Yes, they can even bet on you. And then once one person get access to you, already he have psyched you. He knows the easy way to get the person, so he tells the next person. So the next person will come and then will say, it's just 5,000. Once you buy bread and coke, you can imagine bread and coke. You understand? So they will psych you based on the first person will do the assessment, and then the others already have the manual. So it's just an easy way. That's number one. And they brag about it. They discuss about it. They laugh.
They hail you.
Yes. And sometimes they put a call and they put it on speaker. And they talk and like on a speaker. All of them are there. You don't know. You would think you are talking to one person, and then you are just discussing and they are just laughing. It got to that point. Some is because of spiritual such spiritual purposes. That's why they do that, because they believe some people are very gifted. They have star. If you are hearing people talking about star, they have star, they see. So once they engage, what they want to do is to dim that star in you. And that's why now you find some women, they are miserable, very brilliant, very beautiful, like promising, that you will see and say, yes, this woman, what is happening? It's because spiritually she have lost it. Yes, spiritually she have lost it. So imagine that kind of woman meeting with those kind of men, contaminating her spiritual atmosphere, and then you are meeting her. Just imagine the kind of demons that you will attract to yourself. And the same goes to the man too, because there are women out there, they are out them too, like independent women, they are there too to enjoy what men are enjoying. That's why you'll find out women are flying left, right, and center looking for boys that have six packs. You understand? Just coming to satisfy them. They don't want any relationship. They don't want to be under any man that will tell them any nonsense. They are going around. If they know you have a star too, that's what they are looking for. So you just see a promising young man that is out there, his life is just miserable, and you are asking, like, what's happening? Already a lady somewhere have contaminated his spiritual whatever. So you just find out that those people are just there, and that's how they will just die miserably. And that sometimes you hear people say, "Kwanyi mishini." You understand? Sorry,
this
like,
particular man,
yes.
right? He's in the army. He has 7 children with his wife. Like they struggled together. They got married. He gave birth to 7. At some point, he was posted to a particular place. He now carried. He was following this young lady. I don't know what the lady did to him. He decided to abandon his family and move to the barracks with the young lady. And that's how the wife kept struggling with these children until the last one that finished from the university. Unfortunately for him, the wife later left him with the children. This man was sick for months. When he started like the sickness, he left. The lady left him with the children. She packed her children and left him there. It was the neighbors there that had to look for his children and say, your dad, this is his condition. Like, I mean, this man, after how many years of service, he retired. It was just a Ghana must go, this bag that they went and picked him with and brought him back to the house where the mother and the children were. Like, I mean, look at the years that he would have yielded result and grown with his family and enjoy like
that family
the
bond,
children that he gave birth to. Like, I mean, they will have taken care of and everything. But he decided, no, I want to flirt. I want to enjoy life. So you see why I said God knows why he said we should flee. It's for our own good. And this man, when they brought him, they said 3 things, but he didn't stay long. He just died. Like, look at how he just ended. Do you understand? So it's just important that we choose Jesus. Like, flee. Choose holiness. Choose Jesus. That's just the best thing to just help yourself out of this whole trouble that come with promiscuity. Don't normalize what is wrong. A sin is a sin, and the wages of sin is death. And if you found yourself in that kind of lifestyle, maybe by virtue of society, the modern society or the world that we are in, see, go back to your roots. There's this song, give me that old time religion. Back then, when you know that, see, sexuality is private, you keep your body holy and all of that. If you need to go back to that, go back. Like, sit down and retract your step. If you've been doing this, it's time. You have another opportunity. The fact that you're alive, it means God has not given up on you. So it means that you can retract your step and then pick up and start all over again. Our God is merciful and is gracious, but we don't have to continue in that sin.
It is really a time that we need to pick holiness, pick Jesus, because you are alive. It means you're given an opportunity to redo the things that you have done that were wrong. Don't think it is your right or your privilege. No, he is giving you that opportunity to right your wrongs, to do the things that you have done wrongly. Thank you so much for this conversation. It was really heartwarming. Thank you so much. This is a clarion call for anyone that has been indulged in any promiscuous ways, that it is time for you to right your wrongs, retrace your steps, have a rethink, and do things differently. And if you know anyone that has been involved in these ways, please encourage the person to turn away from his evil. It is not a point where we normalize things that are wrong, things that are negative. No, change begins with you, and until you make that change, nothing good will come out of it. Thank you so much for being here and for watching with us. We hope that you have learned something. See you same time, same station. Bye for now.